It's a beautiful winter day here in New York City. Right now I'm along the Hudson River and I have a very exciting evening planned. I'm going to my first Michelin Starred restaurant of 2023 and I can't wait. The place is called Red Paperclip. I'm not gonna lie, the first thing that captured my attention about this restaurant is its name. It's pretty unique and there's a whole story behind it. But then when I looked at its menu, that got me even more excited. The food looks delicious and the prices seem pretty affordable, at least for a Michelin Starred restaurant here in NYC. In fact, they have a tasting menu which I plan to eat tonight, and it could very well be the most affordable tasting menu in the city right now, at least for a Michelin Starred establishment. I mean, it's still pretty expensive, but comparatively, it's not that bad. Anyways, it's just about time to head to the restaurant, so let's eat some dinner. It was in 2019 that Red Paperclip opened in the West Village by chef and owner Kevin Chen. His resume includes stints at a series of illustrious restaurants like the 3 Michelin Starred Alinea in Chicago and the 2-starred Blue Hill at Stone Barns. The name Red Paperclip partly comes from Kyle McDonald's story of taking a single red paperclip and turning it into a house after a series of trades. The whole crux of the story is the philosophy of always moving forward to greater and better things, which encapsulates the ethos of the Red Paperclip restaurant. In terms of the restaurant's offerings, there's a selection of reasonably priced a la carte options, but I had my eye on the tasting menu. The food is contemporary, with a melding of Taiwanese and American flavors with an overarching focus on seasonality. Before the actual tasting menu got underway, I was presented with a delicious series of small bites to start. The first was an oyster with a yuzu kosho mignoette. Besides the just plain cool presentation, it was a nice dish. The brininess of the oyster combined with the citrusy yuzu kosho was a refreshing and punchy bite to start my dinner. Next was a sort of warm slice of potato topped with a chip and caviar. It was pure heaven. It's a solid example of taking a few great things, putting them together to produce simply wonderful flavors. Then I started on my final amuse-bouche, the cucumbers with sesame, Szechuan, and tzatziki. I wasn't completely sold on the presentation of the dish. To me, the swipe of tzatziki on the rim of the bowl looked a bit messy, but flavor-wise, it was very pleasant. The Szechuan oil was only lightly spiced, but had a great taste. Besides, I didn't want anything too spicy to hinder my palate when I was about to embark on the actual tasting menu. Finally, I was presented with my first official dish, the everything brioche with cured trout, a miso yolk, and trout roe. Visually, it's a beautiful, colorful course that seemingly combines the best of traditional Jewish delis and appetizing stores with the refinement of haute cuisine. The soft bread and egg yolk acted like a comforting pillow for the trout and roe. It's really one hell of a breakfast sandwich. I could eat it every day and die happy. All of its components were just wonderful. Next up was the maitake mushroom course with Japanese mushrooms, rosemary, and tempura. I really enjoyed this dish. There was such a variety of flavors and textures on the plate. There were nice notes of earthiness and umami, and I loved how the rosemary brought in an herbal element. The textural contrast between the tempura mushrooms, the maitake, and the sauce was simply fantastic. So far, it was shaping up to be a great dinner. While eating, I particularly enjoyed the restaurant's 80s-focused soundtrack, which included hits like Queen and David Bowie's Under Pressure, along with Journey's Don't Stop Believing. It's the kind of music that makes one simply feel good. Then came the pasta course, the xiaolongbao or XLB agnolotte with black truffles, pork and ginger, and boy did my waiter make it rain truffles. In fact, there were so many excess truffle shavings that it made a small but delicious mess. However, it was quickly wiped away and I was a little too embarrassed to mention that I planned to eat those precious bits off the table. Nevertheless, the agnolotte was incredible. Now, the intention was to fashion the dish as a sort of cross between agnolotte, the Italian stuffed pasta, and xiaolongbao, a Shanghainese soup dumpling, but to me it was the Italian side of the dish that dominated. There just wasn't that burst of flavor that one typically gets biting into a soup dumpling. I still really enjoyed the dish, but its name had me expecting something else. Still, if I was offered this pasta again, I'd consume it in a heartbeat. However, one odd aspect of my dinner was that I thought I would be receiving another pasta course before this one since it was listed on the menu. Now, I've been to restaurants where there have been alterations to what was printed, but nevertheless I was confused. Still, before I could make any inquiries, my mind was focused on the next dish in front of me, the lobster 3 ways. I was really looking forward to this plate of food, and it didn't disappoint. As the name implies, it's lobster prepared in 3 different manners. First, I tried the lobster covered in a miso beurre blanc sauce. The lobster was light and delicate and perfectly cooked. The rich, buttery sauce clung nicely to the meat, equating to an incredibly flavorful bite. Next, I tried the lobster with sticky rice. It was good, although there was only one little piece of lobster and I would have liked just a little bit more. But still, it was pretty nice. Finally, I had the salt and pepper lobster claw. I loved this one. It was perfectly fried with the right balance of salt and pepper. As a whole, it was a great course that showcased a few delicious preparations of lobster. I'm also very pleased that this course was on the tasting menu, since if one purchased it a la carte, it would set one back $56. To conclude my dinner was a dessert that perplexed me until I tried it. It's called the 898 Squash, which features a delicate squash cake, 5-spice ice cream, a cranberry granita, and marshmallow. There were a lot of nice flavors in that bowl, and they all worked well together. It was such a nice ending to a wonderful experience at Red Paperclip. I enjoyed all the food and appreciated the quick and prompt service. That was an absolutely excellent dinner. It's just the perfect start for my Michelin dining for the year. Every course was excellent. There wasn't one thing that I didn't enjoy. But the only thing, I'm still a little confused on that somewhat missing course. I completely forgot to inquire about it, and it's one thing if they weren't serving it, but they should have at least mentioned that they weren't going to serve it when it's printed right there on the menu. Or even worse, if they just completely forgot to give me the course, that would make me pretty upset. I have to make a quick interlude here. I'm back at my apartment and I've been doing a little research about the restaurant and that potential missing course. From what I'm reading online here, it seems that with the pasta courses, I was supposed to either choose one or the other, which is confusing because no one asked me which pasta course I would like, and on the menu there's an and sign instead of an or. But to be fair, if I was asked, I still would have went with the course that I was actually given, the agnolotti. Anyways, back to the conclusion. But at the end of the day, the food I did have was incredible. I loved it. And I really want to go back to their restaurant, especially to try some of their a la carte courses. I mean, they even have a burger and chicken sandwich. How awesome is that? In summation, I think Red Paperclip is a great restaurant offering wonderful food at a good price. And I love my dinner today. And I can't wait to return to Red Paperclip.